Welcome back to the 40 Plus Life podcast. Today, I'm joined by the brilliant Ali Bastian, an actress many of you will know and love from her roles in Hollyoaks, The Bill and Doctors, as well as her time lighting up the stage in the West End. You may also remember her from Strictly Come Dancing, where she brought her energy and warmth to the ballroom. In recent years, Ali made a huge life shift, leaving the UK behind and moving with her family to the beautiful surroundings of West Cork in Ireland, embracing a slower, more connected way of life. But alongside that, the new chapter came with an unexpected and deeply challenging one, a journey she has spoken about with incredible honesty, strength and openness. Ali, I'm so happy to chat with you today. Welcome to the 40 Plus Life podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for the amazing introduction.
Well,
I appreciate it.
It's your CV. It wasn't a difficult intro to write. Lovely to see you and get to have hopefully a nice chilled conversation. We're recording this on a Monday morning, aren't we? So we're kicking off the week.
Thank you. I've got my cup of tea in my hands and I'm just coming round. No. So thank you. Takes longer, doesn't it? As you get older, I'm like, I sort of think I can spring out of bed and leap into action like I used to. I sort of working on soaps and things like that and being on that treadmill.
Yeah.
I'd be really used to just sleeping for as much as I possibly can and suddenly arriving at work and being able to do it. And now I'm like, I need a little bit of time and a cup of tea.
Exactly.
And, a slow morning.
Slow mornings are the best if you get the opportunity to have them. It's not always there for you when there's school runs and all of that to try and juggle.
Absolutely, small children and the whole thing.
So I'd love to just start by chatting a little bit about your acting career, because you've had a really nice varied career across TV and theatre. You've done the reality shows like Strictly. What moments have shaped you the most, do you think, both as an actor and a person?
Wow, that's a good question. I think from a career perspective, Hollyoaks was a really big moment for me. I was 19. I was a child actress, so I'd always worked and done bits and pieces, but I was finding it hard to cross over from being a child performer to an adult performer.
What age did you start at?
8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it is, it's just always something I always wanted, always loved. I was really lucky that there was a stage school around the corner from where I grew up. And so I went to classes there and they had an agency. So I started auditioning, and then I went to the school full time. I've been reflecting on that period actually a lot recently, which actually, talking in circles, but that is actually a period as well that really kind of shaped me, going to stage school and all of that. I absolutely loved it. And my husband and I have recently launched a school in West Cork where we're living now. Yeah, so West Cork Performing Arts. And it is we were there yesterday teaching, and I just had this moment where everyone was arriving and I was like, okay, upstairs for drama, in here for dance and all of that. And I was like, wow, this is really my happy place. This was really an important part of growing up for me, and to be doing that now for young people feels really, really good. And when you have those moments where you're like, oh, this is actually really what I want right now, and this feels really good.
That's really special.
Yeah, so that's sort of how I started, and then I worked through my teens. But it was getting harder as I got older. And I think the industry, there are all these moments maybe in life as well where you're seen in a particular, associated with a particular period of your life. And then you're like, well, actually, my life has moved on now. And you need the industry to see you in that new light. And Hollyoaks was a perfect sort of segue for me at 19. And it really changed my life as well.
Gosh, were you 19?
I was 19, yeah. So I went up for the audition, and my agent was like, don't, not in your wildest dreams, it's not going to happen. Why
would they say that?
It's horrible.
Yeah,
horrible,
so mean. Don't even think about it.
Don't even think about it. It's not going to happen. I think they were saying it in a don't put any pressure on yourself. Probably the way I say it sounds worse than it was, but they call them, it's a horrible expression, but like cattle farming auditions, where isn't that horrible? I hate even saying that aloud, and I hope people don't refer to it as that anymore, but just hundreds and big old open auditions, hundreds of people. They don't really know exactly what they're looking for, but you just go and show up and roll the dice. And I didn't hear anything for a couple of months after that, so I wrote it off completely. And then got called up to Liverpool out of the blue, did an audition, and then called up again the next day and got the phone call on the way home on the train. So I went home and said, "Oh, Mum, I'm moving to Liverpool," and that was the Thursday, and I started on the Monday.
Oh wow, gosh, that was a quick turnaround.
It's crazy. crazy. There was a little gang of us that was starting as the new students, and everything changed very quickly. And I stayed up there. I was there for, 5 or 6 years? 6 years, I think. And I loved it. I learned so much on that job. And I suppose it was a really informative part of my life. It was, 19 to 25, I was there. So I sort of grew up there, to some degree.
You were filming Hollyoaks, right, if I remember rightly, in looking back, at that sort of height of girls on TV shows were being sort of turned into these kind of sort of pin-ups. It was a lot about who was the hottest, who was making it into FHM, who was in the top 20 sexiest whatever. I mean, that was a really big part, I think, for yours and my generation, for girls, how they felt about their bodies. I mean, how did all of that play into how you felt about yourself?
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, because funnily enough, not something I've spoken about loads, because in a way, we, at the same time as being part of this era in the noughties where we were, like you said, FHM, all the lads mags.
Zoo, Nuts.
God, we were doing calendars. And then also it was very like Circle of Shame in magazines and all of that really sort of highlighting different parts of women's bodies and
someone
really
on the beach with cellulite on their leg with a big circle around it. It was just vile,
gross, really shaming, really awful, really fear. I remember we were afraid of that as well. It was like, but what if I end up, what if they do that, and how is that going to make me feel? But at the same time, media trained to not talk about that side of life at all. So it's all happening. But again, like, a lot of things in life, it's like, but no one talks about it because it's all, it's always the image of like the happy family, all of this. Wow, there's, a lot that we were coping with. And so
that's so interesting that your media training, they were telling you not to talk about it. Like, don't complain about it, because you'll just end up looking like you're whinging. Do you think that was it? Or just pretend it's not happening?
It wasn't really, because it wasn't even addressed. I don't think anyone even really was addressing or realised what we were all participating in it to some degree, but there wasn't a discussion around, is this right, is it not? It wasn't in question, but it was more that we were, always put out that you're single and available, always put out that, don't give them too much of yourself, don't let them know who you are, because you need to play a character and you need to be, and people need to identify with you as that character. So as an actor, don't put yourself sort of out there. So it's just, even talking that through, it's just quite complicated.
Yeah, it's lots to unpack, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think something we're only beginning to unpack now while, there's more discussion now around that period and what were we all doing?
I know.
And, like what...
I feel a bit of almost maybe embarrassment and shame that at that age, when I was first starting as a presenter, I remember, and I know my colleagues were thinking the same, we wanted to get that bikini shoot. We thought that was going to be us making it. And that was actually probably at the time the only thing that was being offered to us. I remember when I was working with ITV and I was part of the ITV Play gaming TV shows, and the only PR that we were offered was the, underwear shoot for The Star and a bikini shoot in Dubai. And I'll admit, I did take the one for Women magazine because it felt more wholesome. I said no to The Star because I didn't want to be in my underwear in a newspaper. And I know one of the girls did do it and called me in tears once it went into the paper, because she just felt... I think she just felt she'd made a really terrible mistake in doing it. And just looking back, that's what we were not reduced to, because obviously we were still doing, great work. You were doing a brilliant job on Hollyoaks. I felt like I was making a mark, getting into presenting, but kind of it did us a disservice, I think. Maybe. Absolutely.
And I think, it's difficult, isn't it? It's being mindful not to punish ourselves for the decisions that we were making at the time as young people in an industry, that was moving very quickly. So much was... I remember that as well, that feeling of like people, wanting to be in doing those shoots and doing all of that. For me, it didn't come easily. It didn't feel very me. And so I think like you, I was trying to tread this fine line of doing what I sort of had to, being contracted in a job and everything, but also trying to advocate for myself and only do the things I felt comfortable with. But it didn't always work out that way. And I did do shoots that I found really difficult. I did do a cover of FHM, and I remember crying on the set because I was 19. I was standing there in my underwear. And for me, all of that stuff was quite triggering, and I didn't even have the language for that then. And I guess that's what we reflect on now. And, you know, I can understand a bit more about what was happening to me and why it was hard for me. But, you know, there were other girlfriends of mine that were, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but perhaps more robust and in that way, and body confident, and people that were dancers and, you know, really inhabited their own skin and their bodies in a different way. And for them, that wasn't such a big deal. But for me, it was. And, you know, we all walk a different kind of path with this stuff. But it was certainly a strange time.
It was a learning curve.
Respect.
I remember getting teary on the shoot. It was in Dubai, and it was, you know, it felt very exciting and glamorous to get to go away to do this. But I remember getting teary just because I just felt really self-conscious in a bikini and comparing myself to the other girls. I'm not very busty. I thought you had to be booby to do a bikini shoot. And I remember one of the other women girls on the shoot was a celeb, and she was the highest profile out of the girls that I was there with. And she had proper rules about what she would and wouldn't do. And it was a really good lesson. She would do bikini, but she had to have like a cover up thing. You know, she had her boundaries of what she would and wouldn't do. And I thought, okay, that's what you've got to do. But I also felt she was able to do it because she was a bigger name. So, interesting.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? And we were maybe conditioned as well to think you had to do, you know, I don't know, you kind of have the craft that you're passionate about, you know, for me acting and for you presenting and all of that, you know, side of it that we're kind of trying to make our way in this industry that is very competitive and very hard.
Absolutely.
I don't know. There's so much there.
I know. We could do a whole chat on that. I didn't even intend for us to go into that one, but
No, it's definitely a thing. And I think it's quite, you know, with the, I did watch the America's Top Model documentary recently. So I think it's in the, that's sort of under scrutiny again, that period, and as it should be, and as we should be, you know. But even now, the culture with social media and everything, we find new ways to, you know, put ourselves out there and
bring each other down or criticize. It's still there, isn't it?
It can be really harsh. So it's finding a way to navigate these things where you're only giving of yourself what you feel comfortable with. And for me, even social media has been actually quite positive, and I feel quite fortunate in that way, and that my little corner of the internet feels like quite a safe space. And I haven't had, you know, thankfully, you know, I've got nice interactions with people, and it's actually created quite a lot of connection, especially over the last couple of years. And that's felt quite symbiotic, because I've actually needed that too, and that encouragement and support. So that's actually felt really nice. But I've tried to share in a way that feels reflective and kind of truthful for the different areas of the experience that I'm going through. And I find it quite cathartic writing, and, you know, sharing in that way actually feels quite creative as well. So there's sort of something in all of that I've really appreciated.
Well, let's look back over the last couple of years, because you made a big decision with your family to up sticks from England and move to beautiful West Cork, which I know very well, and happens to be where I actually got to bump into you one day, and we got chatting, and that's obviously how this has come about. But what made you move to West Cork?
I think what made me so many thoughts.
I mean, it's a beautiful place.
It is. I mean, I love it. For starters, I absolutely love it. And the more we get into life here, the more I want to get into life here. And I kind of sink into, I don't know, more of a peaceful way of life, a slower pace of life. And it was something that I was really yearning for, I think. And we were living in West London. We were in a really lovely spot, and I'd been there for years and years. And it was having, I suppose, where do we even start? We had my first daughter, Isla, just as COVID was starting. So we had her a week before lockdown. And then, so that was, the COVID journey that a lot of people had that were having children at that time.
And what age were you then?
I was 38.
Okay.
Yeah, 38 when I had her. So I always say, I was late to the party with motherhood, but I think things just happen kind of, I don't even know, why am I caveating that?
I know there's
that?
so
why
many
would I
women
say that.
So many more women are having babies later.
Absolutely. And for me, it was 100% the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think I thought I was ready for a long time, but actually, and also needed to meet my person, didn't meet my person until later on. And so for me, that really was a really happy time, and a really, I felt really ready, and as ready as anyone ever is, and had Isla. But then the lockdown sort of experience was, an intense period. I don't know. There were just so many different things that were happening in my life. And
did you have a connection to Ireland already?
I've always loved Ireland. I have a really good friend who lives up the West Coast, Jodie Albert, who's a really good friend of mine. And I'd come and spend time with her and her. We used to work together on Hollyoaks, and I'd spend time with her and her family. And I think she could see the impression that the place had on me, and that I'd kind of, my whole nervous system, everything would just settle, and I loved it. And so whenever I was out there, she'd be like, come and have a look at this house, come and look at that, trying to sort of encourage me to make the move. And then I met David, and he brought me over to West Cork, where his family were from, and I fell in love with it down here completely. And so we'd come out for holidays and things. But it was really, I suppose, why I was stumbling over it before, trying to find the story of it and how we ended up here, how we made the actual decision to move, which
it's a big move, isn't it?
It's a big move. And I always felt like if I was going to leave London, I wanted to really change. It would be to change my life. It wouldn't be, because I grew up in the suburbs, grew up in the home counties in Berkshire, and I wanted a different. And a lot of people make that move, when they have children and everything, but still want to be able to commute. But I wanted the big change, really. So maybe there was something in me that always was looking for it.
My parents live in West Cork as well, hence why I was over there, and we bumped into each other. And gosh, when I get off the plane, there's just something about the air. It's different. It feels so clean, the freshness, everything about it. My shoulders drop, and my parents live right down on one of the sort of southwest peninsulas, and it does feel like there's nothing else in the world when you're there sometimes. And that slower pace of life, the no makeup, the carefree vibes they're really special. So I can totally understand why you would want that life out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. Everything you just said, it is special. And I felt that straight away. It's beautiful. It's an amazing environment. But I think also for me on my journey, I just suddenly felt like my internal world wasn't matching the environment that I was in anymore. Like a lot had happened. I'd lost my mum. I was living in West London. We had our second child, and then I was struggling, and I was, in all honesty, really burning out, and I sort of couldn't keep up with that London pace of things. And in the end, I said to David, I think we really need a circuit breaker. I'd had Izzy was a C-section, my second one, and I wasn't healing, and she was about 7 months old at that time. And so I said to him, can we just go out there for a few weeks? Like, I think I really need
you need to get away.
Need to stop. I need to get away. And we went out there, and we both just settled, and my everything healed. My C-section healed. It's never been an issue again. And
gosh, that's interesting. Yeah,
I just feel like I followed my nervous system out here, and I really need it. And it's hard to put into words how much I needed it. And I didn't at that point understand how much I needed it, but something was pulling me. And then when we went back, we started to have the discussion, like, could we do it? Could we really make this change? And my husband is amazing like that, in that I will drop these sort of crazy ideas, and it did come from me. And at the beginning, he's like, no, like, it's not gonna, no, we can't. And then, like, the next day, he's sending me, he's on the internet looking at houses,
sending you right places.
Yes. It's like he kind of I drop it, and then I wait, and then he starts coming up with plans. And we always have this joke with us that I'm like, we need to adopt a school of basking sharks, and he's like, I'll build the tank. Don't worry about it.
Oh gosh, that's so lovely that he's that supportive.
Yeah, he really, really is.
Yeah.
So the seed of the idea was planted, and then we just kind of followed the thread, and then we did it. And yeah.
Have you managed to, obviously you mentioned, Jodie, that you've got a great friend over there, but have you managed to create your own community around you? Have you got a new village of people? Obviously,
yes.
After sadly losing your mother, have you found other people that can help not take that position, but, step in and be that help and support for you?
Yeah, I really have, in a different way. And it's not that, I had a lovely, supportive, little network around me where I lived in London, and we really bonded through COVID, just on our street. So I've had some great mates there who, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, came out to see me and everything. So it's not to take away from that, but this has just been a different experience of that. I didn't even know the number of people that live in the area that I live in, but it's a really small community. And a friend of mine was like, do you know there's 270 people that live where you live? And I was like, no, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was part of such an intimate community, but
you get to know everybody though as well,
really
which is
do.
amazing.
And I love it. I love it. And people as well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer 6 weeks after we moved. So we were still in boxes. It was literally one of those moments that, and I couldn't have written it. I had, it totally came.
Did not see that coming.
Did not see that coming. I was like, yay, our new life. This is so exciting.
Gosh.
Everything burning to the ground. And then, it was such a scary time. And I suppose the first thing then was okay, to get the treatment sorted out, and the hospital here, CUH, was so good and have really looked after me. And
I know it because my dad's was recently ill, and so I got to experience a little bit of the hospital there, and I'm so glad you got great treatment. What happened in that first few weeks and months?
So I remember making a call to the doctor who diagnosed me, and I was like, what do I do? I've just got here. Do I go back? Should I go back to England? And she was like, no, we've got you.
Yeah.
We will take care of you. Don't worry. Let's just get you sorted out. So for starters, that was an incredible moment of just feeling like, okay, they've got me. I don't have to suddenly about turn and leave and everything. And so I started chemo very quickly, amazingly. I had chemo first, so I was straight into 6 months of that. And so it's hard, isn't it, because we segue. It's such this part of my journey is so wrapped up in the move here and the new start, and it's not. So it's difficult to segue straight into this. It's just kind of natural. But also just to say on the big change and making that change, I am still so, so grateful for that. I have no regrets whatsoever. And actually, it kind of got me through that period.
Yeah.
I was, life had to slow down completely and stop. And I
almost like the universe knew that you needed it. It knew what was coming.
I feel that, and me and my own knowing as well was just something. It was almost like dragging myself to safety before I absolutely collapsed, I think. Wow. And something in me was like, we need to get out of London. We need to change. We need to go somewhere else and be somewhere else. And I sort of felt that we got us here, and then I collapsed really. But then this is an environment where again, it's hard to put it into words. The vastness of it, the wildness of it, the wild Atlantic way is incredible. There was so much sort of so much that I was going through with chemo. It's it's dark and twisty and it's hard, and to be able to kind of walk out and breathe the sea air and be in this incredible environment.
That it's healing. I think you mentioned the wild Atlantic way, that rugged, wild, it's windswept, it's sideways rain, and then it's glorious sunshine, and it's green, and it's I don't know. I guess it took away a lot of the noise maybe from your life.
It did in a way. Yes, it did. And I think I was saying to somebody recently, this isn't a place where you run from yourself, because there's so much space, there's so much time, you've actually got to sit place. With yourself, haven't you? You are confronted with yourself, with whatever you're carrying, whatever's gone on for you. And by this point in my life, it was a lot. There was a lot there on every level, mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it.
Yeah.
But you are confronted with it, but in an environment. I remember after my mum died, just feeling like, all I kept saying to people is, I just need a soft place to land.
Yeah.
I need arms around me, and I need a soft place to land. And that was the like drive, I think. And then I found it here in this place, in that it's a place that can also hold you through that difficult stuff. And it's like the culture, the community, they can sit with you through difficult things. They'll climb down in the hole with you and put their arms around you in a way that I didn't feel that in England. Not that it's not there, but maybe in my own kind of environment.
Yeah, you've got to be quite lucky, I think, to find that sense of community. Where we used to live, we didn't really know anyone on our street. And my husband and I and kids, in the last few years, we moved to a little close, and now we know everyone in our street. And we've got a WhatsApp group, and if somebody needs something, they ask, and everybody's dying to be the first to help. It's like, I can do it. I've got the cake tin, or I can take one of your kids or whatever, or look after the cat.
Amazing.
And
that's amazing.
I'd never known that before. Even growing up, I don't think we really knew beyond our instant neighbours. And so when you do get it, when you do find it, it is really special. I mean, I live down on the south coast, so I don't have that experience of having it in London. I know some people that do have that in London, but yeah, I'm really happy that you found that special community in West Cork.
And ditto, hearing that for you as well. Like, it's nice that you have that, and that it is there too. It's just you have to kind of find it, and maybe be at a time in your life where you're ready for that. Because I think earlier in my life, I was running at 100 miles an hour, and I was okay with that because that was the season of my life that I was in. But things evolve and change, and what you look for is
that's
different.
A really good point, and something which I think is actually a good sort of conversation in the 40 plus life. And that when I was young, I just did not stop. I remember my nana, my nana lived with us at my family house for a good few years. And before she passed away, she made it into 90 at least, 91. And I remember I would come running in from one job, and I'd be like, oh, hi, Nana, sorry, I've got to just grab my bag. I've got to jump on a tray. I've got to get to another job. And she just said, gosh, you're always so busy. You're always, and I can hear her saying it now and thinking, it kind of breaks my heart a bit that I wasn't able to stop more and just go, oh no, let me just, I should just sit down with you and we'll have a cup of tea. And, I don't need to have packed in 3 different jobs in one day, but you think you have to in your 20s. Well, I did anyway.
I did. Yeah. Absolutely the same.
You can't say no to anything. You've got to take every opportunity and jump on everything. And so now in my 40s, I do, if I see an empty day on the calendar, I'm like, great. I'm not filling that with anything. That's going to be a nothing day.
Isn't that the best? I love that. And they've got
so
going
good.
where the wind takes me day. Like, I love those days. Or
literally in West Cork.
Girlfriend, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or when nobody else is in the house and everybody's out. Oh my God, getting like a day in the house by yourself. Like, I love it. Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
When I stay up in London, sometimes my parents have got a flat because they live mainly in West Cork, as I've mentioned. But sometimes when I'm working, I stay there if I'm working for a couple of days in a row. And people always say, oh, what do? Do you go into London? Do you go and meet up with people? I'm like, no, sometimes I go to M&S and I get their dirty fries, which are covered in cheese and jalapenos. And I binge watch something on Netflix, and it's the best.
You are literally living the dream in that moment.
Yeah, it really is.
I love it.
It really is. Can I go back a little bit? I think it would be helpful for people to know what was your indicator that you knew that something was wrong for your cancer diagnosis?
So I did find a lump. So I was breastfeeding. My littlest was then, by the time we moved here, she was 18 months and I was still feeding. And David, I don't think our plan also with moving countries was hugely robust.
Right.
We were like, we're going to do this and then we're going to have a base that we love and then we'll continue to go where the wind takes us for work. Yeah. And if we need to go back to England or we can work here, like that's what we'll do. We'll be really light on our feet. And this was kind of the loose loose plan. But then, everything changed very quickly. But in that moment, David had got a job back in England. So he'd gone back to work for just for like 10 days. He was filming. And then Izzy went into hyperwalk with the feeding again. And we had night weaned her, but she was feeding all through the day and all through the night. Fun times. And
remember it?
Yeah. And I remember getting really, really sore. I probably did have a touch of mastitis.
Which is probably what you thought it was as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was feeling my breast, and I felt into my breast, and I found a lump, and was like, I panicked completely. It was a Sunday morning, and I called South Doc, which is like the out of hours thing here, and they got me in really quickly. I was in the same day to see them. Got examined.
The same day? That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, that was, to see a GP that morning. And so and being a breastfeeding mum, they were like, okay, let's give you antibiotics, maybe leave it a few days and see if it breaks down. It's probably, if it presented very much like a blocked duct. And I'd had those before, and it did feel similar to that, in all honesty. And so they were treating me for that. And a couple of weeks went by, and I kept feeling it. And I was like, this is not changing at all. And I was trying every trick in the book. I was blasting myself with the shower head, trying to break it down, the electric toothbrush. I was like, arnica, like everything I could think of. Nothing was changing. And I remember thinking, actually feels like it's in the structure of my breast. I remember thinking that feels like it feels structural. And so I went back to the GP, and I was like, I really think I need to have a referral. And so they referred me to the Orchid Centre up in Cork, which is this amazing breast cancer place, which I've now spent an awful lot of time. But I was there in the morning. By lunchtime, I knew something, that was, it was pretty clear that something was off. And I'd seen all the top brass really by the lunchtime. I was like, my God.
But your head was spinning.
Incredible. Head was spinning. Yeah, complete terror. And then by the end of that week, I had my diagnosis. And then it all sort of kicked off from there. But it was... it's, not to frighten breastfeeding mothers at all. And, it might well have been a blocked duct, and that, those... But it's better the majority of things that happen like that are not breast cancer, but sometimes they are. And that is what happened. That's what happened for me. And so it's, and actually I have to say I wasn't checking that regularly. I sort of thought being breastfeeding, my boobs were unrecognisable. They were bigger than my head. They felt completely different.
God, I remember. Yeah.
And
your body doesn't feel like yours anymore, does it at that point?
So it's really, and I know that for a lot of people, breastfeeding can be a preventative measure as well for breast cancer. So I kind of thought it doesn't happen to breastfeeding mums. And then you get into it and it's like, it can. And so just being aware and early, like everybody says.
Early detection.
Early detection is key. I'm
actually doing a 100k walk with Copperfield in June, and that charity is really about trying to educate people in early diagnosis and knowing your body, knowing when it's changed, but particularly amongst younger people, because it is on the rise. We are seeing, this of higher stats, and people just don't think it happens to women under 40 really. And so were you on the cusp of 40 at that point?
I was
were you
42 by that point. Second.
You still kind of think it still feels young, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know how long mine was. I think they would still consider it an early breast cancer.
Okay.
But as you got more and more into the diagnostics, and as things went by, it wasn't as early as I would have liked.
Yeah.
But I'm somewhere in the middle where it, so that was where I was. But it was.
And where are you now?
Thank you for asking me that question. This is always anchoring, because it's really, I can feel myself sometimes when I'm talking about it. It still feels so raw and quite traumatic. But so where I am now is that I've completed all my active treatment. I am on a lot of preventative medication. I'm what they refer to, it's like obviously still not completely embodying this as a concept, a breast cancer survivor, which I really need to begin to really embody. It's just kind of believing it. It's like that part of you has to catch up, that feels like I'm safe, it's okay,
you're out the other side,
that I'm out the other side. But there's an ongoingness to how it feels, I think, sometimes, and that rightly, my doctors, when I first got diagnosed, weren't giving me a roadmap for the rest of time for how this would be. It was, and at times it's so mentally overloading. All it can be is the next thing and the next thing, and just kind of dealing with things a little bit at a time. But I think was looking forward to the notion of there being a button on it at the end, and it's like, that's you, that's done, off you go, see you later. And actually what happens is there's ongoing appointments and checkups, and which is good. They keep a really close eye on you, and treatments moving forward, which again, it's like, thank God that exists and I can have it. And,
do you know whether you'll have to stay on medication? Do you have to carry on with that for life?
It's not for life, as far as I know. Like at the moment, I'm on one drug that I take for 2 years, and I'm into my second year of that now, which is a targeted breast cancer drug that they now give some, everything's very tailored now, and there's sort of, I can't remember how many different types.
It's not
of
a one glove fits all.
Not at all. So we're all on completely different pathways, and even sitting in, chemo, you'd be not. Every person in there would be on some, a different pathway and a different cocktail of what they're having. So I'm on this for 2 years, and the hormonal therapy, which sort of put me I went straight into menopause and out the other side.
Okay,
with chemo, and then the drugs that I'm on now, the hormonal therapy, keep me there. So that I think is 5 years, but I know some women it's 5 to 10 years, and that advice they can't tell me now because the advice changes, the research changes all the time, so we'll see.
So when you're already going through breast cancer, but to be walloped with intense menopause, that must be quite a lot.
Quite a lot. It's quite a lot. And again, it's sort of not something that's at the forefront at the time. And actually, I remember they asked me very early on where I stood in terms of my family, and I sort of knew vaguely that there were some measures they could have gone to preserve fertility in some way, and I was like, no, I have my 2 girls. Like I did feel that thankfully I'd had them. I don't know how long I'd been unwell as well. So I don't know how long I'd had it, but I had my kids and I'd got through my pregnancies, and I felt like I'm done now. So I kind of on that front let it all happen, really. It's kind of more when you come out the other side that you're like, oh, okay, and now menopause. And
we haven't battered you enough yet. Enjoy.
Good luck. And so, but again, with a lot of things with women's health, there's thankfully more and more discussion around it, and around, sometimes I feel a bit left out over the great HRT chat, because that is not available to me at the moment. It's not. So it's like, oh, okay. But then again, there is room for some discussion with some of these things, and there's some things that are available to you. So that's been a bit of a voyage of discovery. And again, I think my doctors don't go, look, here's a list of things that might be happening to you. They sort of wait and see what comes up, and then deal with whatever seems to be presenting as the things that are the top of the list to deal with at the time, but case by case. But for me, I've sort of had to explain to them as well, and I don't know if this is in my training and conditioning, but I am quite good at fronting it. And so
you are an actress.
Exactly. And I'll go in there and be like, and I was like, listen, guys, like I will present quite well, and I may not actually be coping. So I really need them to know that. And so I've actually, and even just me saying it out loud, I think is like a thing. So
do you have days where you're really not coping?
I think I do. And I don't know, it's like, I don't think I ever have given myself permission to really like grieve it all and all of it. And I sort of moved from one crisis to the next. And so I'd say that grief is coming in now, and I'm having periods where I am feeling it, but I think it's like I only let myself little by little.
Have you had help in that respect?
All of the help. Yeah, I have, and I continue to. And
can I ask what has helped?
Yeah, what has helped? So therapy over the years, and when I first got diagnosed, I said to them, look, I've really recently lost my mum, and now this is happening, and I've just moved countries. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, I don't know. And so at that point they were like, right, we have onc psychology, and so we'll put you with them. And so they have been amazing, and I've been on that pathway alongside my treatment, which has been just invaluable. And just to have them check in on me, and, you know, with all of it, just keep checking in on me. That is what I really appreciate. And then being able to access counselling at the right time. And even then, I think I'm only scratching the surface with it now. I think a lot of it is still quite bottled up. And so it's fine. And sometimes a friend of mine who's been through this as well, asked me if I had the moments where I feel like the cork just flies out of the bottle. Yeah. And I do.
And everything just everywhere. Yeah.
I had it recently. And it's often triggered by going back in for my hospital appointments, because I, at this point, feel quite phobic about going there even. And so but I do it, and I have to, and it's so important to continue to do those appointments. Yeah. But I'm going to have reconstruction, and
so you had a mastectomy.
I did. I had a mastectomy on one side, and so I will have I couldn't have it simultaneously, so I'm having it down the line, but I sort of thought it was going to be in a certain window of time, and because just availability of my surgeon, who's off for a while, and she was like, I'm going on mat leave, and so I'm not going to be able to do this until like ... And I was like, oh, okay, so like ridiculous, congratulations, that's wonderful news. And of course it is, like, babies and all mothers, of and course. Brilliant, yes, amazing female surgeons doing fantastic work and having babies, yes.
But I also need
but I also need this, and I walked out and just like but it wasn't just about that, it was everything. It wasn't even probably, it was 10% that, and 90% everything.
It was
else.
That last drop of water in the overflowing bathtub, and then it all just came spilling
and
out.
I just cried in the corridors of the hospital, and then like a little homing pigeon found my way to the cancer centre, which is in CUH, the Daffodil Centre, and I know the nurses in there, and I was like, can I just sit down and just be in here? And sat with them until
I bet they scooped you up.
They totally scooped me. Yeah, so there's incredible resources as well when you go through this sort of thing. You don't even know when you're not, when you haven't dealt with anything like this, don't even know all of this exists. Yeah. And it's like, there's these incredible people doing work that, is absolutely invaluable.
Gosh, and it is amazing that these. Sorry, that's made me feel a little sort of whoa. No, God, no, don't be ridiculous. It's just that thought of these. They're not just nurses, are they? They're not just doctors. They're real humans with real feelings that I'm sure get really attached to their patients as well, and they just want to help you.
They do, and I felt that through it, and I'd have times cancer can feel like a lonely path, because truthfully, there are people that can show up when you go through this stuff, and there are people that can't, and it's hard because it can hurt, and it's a shock as well, I think. But then the people that do show up, you're like, and it's not to blame people, it's just that I think it's so confronting.
They get scared.
It's scary. It's scary, and it's hard to watch someone go through it. For so many reasons, and actually have to say, I've also been that person on the other side of it, where I've known someone go through it, and I found it hard to be close to for my own reasons. So it's so complicated, and I know that. But the people that do show up and the support that appears is incredible. And you know, like when the shit hits the fan in your life, like the people that are around your kitchen table, it's never who you imagine it was going to be, but you are so grateful and never forget that kindness and that support. And I have felt that so much in West Cork from the people that I've met in the community here. And I think you asked me before about have I made friends here and have I made a life here? And yes, I really have. I've got a great gang of girlfriends, and there's a swimming group. I love swimming in the sea. And I remember I was in counselling and I was talking about sort of other things that had happened in the run up to my diagnosis. And then it was only the end of the session. She was like, and cancer, like, how do you feel about that? And I suddenly felt the panic rise in me.
Right.
And I was, I almost sort of had a panic attack in there. And she sensed it and was brilliant and was like, let's ground you and, you know, feel your feet on the floor and everything, and really helped me. But she was like, close your eyes and take yourself to your like happy place, somewhere that feels safe and somewhere. And straight away, I went to the sea where I live. There's the beach, and it's where I go swimming with all the local ladies. And and sometimes, you know, we're all on a WhatsApp group. You show up, you may or may not know the people that you're going to swim with, but or just, you know, I say swim lightly. In the winter, it's been like in and out like a tea bag. But that was my place. That was my safe space, being held in this beautiful environment surrounded by a group of women that I don't know who are, or getting to know, and now I can call friends. But like in those early days, that was my safe space, and I don't even know if they know they meant that to me. But that's, you know, that's what I mean, I suppose, when I say about being held by the environment that you're in. And like I really felt that, and that was really special.
Oh, I'm really happy for you that you've got that. Amazing. Oh gosh, that village.
So much.
Gosh, wow. Now we're going to change tack a little bit, because the 40 plus life has the tagline taking on midlife with style, and it's not just about fashion. When I talk about style, I mean just how you are taking on life, but also I think style for you right now. How does that present? Is it about softness? Is it about making yourself feel wrapped in coziness? How does style show up for you?
A bit of all of the above, like a little from column A, a little from column B. I think the last year or so, I've started to enjoy it all again, which is nice. I think as my hair started to grow back, I've had extensions and had the colour put back in. I've gone blonde again, and that's felt really good. That's always been part of my identity. And I think that going through this, it strips you back to, I don't even know what, bones. But the bare bones, and looking in the mirror and thinking, I don't know who this person is in front of me. And then comes the rebuild, which I am so grateful that I get to be in this space. And like, not everybody gets that. So here I am in this bit where I'm putting myself back together, and I really am under construction and a work in progress. But I really am studying. I'd also just come through the motherhood part of living in leggings and comfy things and breastfeeding clothes and all of that into treatment, into now what. And so I'm like really enjoying finding out what I like
and
now.
Who you are now as well.
Who I am now, how I dress now, how I want to show up in the world. And I think I've always felt about myself, I might try and feel a bit put together, but I never seem to be able to completely do that. I'll always be like, you know, I'll have brushed my hair but forgotten to brush the back, or something will be tucked into my knickers or something. It's like I can never quite get it like
polished.
Yeah, that's how I feel polished. Yeah, it's not in my locker. That.
Do you know, I think that's lovely though, that there's always just that slight bit of, I don't know, wonkiness or
chaos. Yes. Something spilt down my top. One of my kids has put a handprint on something. Like it's always that.
Snot on your shoulder.
Snot on my shoulder. Yeah, fine. Like it's fine. I can absolutely deal with that.
But it's all the beautiful messiness of motherhood and everything that you've gone through as well. Just
sort of showing up how you are. And some days I feel like trying to put myself together a bit more some days. I just want to, and like you said, being in like comfortable, soft things and feeling comfortable in my body, like that's definitely a thing. Figuring out how to dress after a mastectomy, that's a thing.
Right.
And
I saw you did, I hope don't mind bringing it up, I saw you did a clip on one of your Instagrams and you whipped out a prosthetic, I think you did.
I always feel quite excited to do that, which is strange, isn't it? What is that about? But I've got a one that I love, and it's bright pink, and I've worn it since I got it every day, swim in it, everything. They're called Boost, and they're we love. Is it? I love. Oh God, I'm going to check exactly what it's called, but it's called a Boost.
Okay, it's, I can put a link in the show notes.
Oh yes, please, yeah, do, because honestly, when they hand you. You know, my lovely nurse, Margaret, was so gentle and kind and supportive when she showed me, and it was the day after my mastectomy, she gave me my prosthetic at the hospital, and so that I'd have something straight away, which is important, I think. But but my boobs were still a lot bigger. I was always very little, and then with babies and everything in life, like I've completely changed. So what I actually ended up with this amazing, huge piece of silicone in my hands, and I was like, what
is this?
What has happened? Oh my God. And and for me it was really heavy and not very comfortable. So these are like light and colourful and they're not doing an impression of a boob,
right?
Which I think is, for me, that's quite good. Actually not trying to be a boob, like it's just something else, but it gives the right line in clothes. And it is look,
she's getting it out.
I'm getting it out. It's such a happy colour, so I feel like nice.
It's bright pink.
So, and I could show my kids as well, because I sort of, at the beginning, I was, I've got really young children. So I'm in that phase where you don't shut bathroom doors and all of that. And now, and then I was sort of showering on my own and not letting and now I just try and just be around the kids and it not be a thing. And they ask me questions, and that's okay.
And it's okay for them to...
That thing really, be curious and ask me. And I'm like, I have a scar. This is,
it's real.
It's real. Yeah. And I don't want them to feel that I'm ashamed of my scar and all of that, because, yes, accepting my body after everything that it's been through is hard, but
part of the journey.
But part of the journey is part of it, and ongoing part of the journey, definitely. But clothes and feeling good, and for me, it's like finding anything that means I look in the mirror and I feel like myself, and I feel like I look well, and I feel like you get into a bit of a loop then, like your brain sees you, you see yourself like that, and you start to feel more like your old self, and I think that matters.
It does matter indeed. Now we're going to finish things off with a silly little game of this or that, just for fun. Okay. So, are you an early morning or a night owl?
Neither. Sorry. Never been either. More, I would lean towards a night owl, because I don't like the fun to stop. So sometimes if I'm out and about, like I'm the one, my husband will be like, it's time now, come on, we're going home. But once I'm having a good time, I don't want it to end. But I'm not a morning person at all.
TV set or theatre dressing room?
Oh, they all evoke such different lovely feelings. But sorry, this is supposed to be a quick game, and I want to elaborate on everything.
No one's been quick so far.
Oh, really? Yeah. So the theatre dressing room, there's something about hearing the crowd on the relay and getting yourself ready, and those moments before a show that's instantly really exciting. The adrenaline, it's exciting. But I'd say in terms of like feeling grounded and really like in my happy place, in my element, I'd say film and TV set.
Yoga or coastal walk?
Oh, coastal walk at the moment, but I do love yoga.
Can't beat a West Cork coastal walk. They are.
No.
They're the best.
That's magic.
Beach day or cozy by the fire?
Beach day. 100% beach bum.
Podcast or music?
Music, probably. Sorry.
That's all right.
I do like a podcast, but I lose myself in music.
Me too. Planning everything or going with the flow?
100% going with the flow. My husband and I did those when we first met, personality, Myers-Briggs tests to see, and we are actually, weirdly, we came out exactly the same.
Oh,
which
really?
I don't know if that is good or bad, but on everything apart from decision making, and where I am 100%. Well, no, I was like 98% instinctive, and he was 98% take a top-down view on everything. And
right.
Yeah, so
that's probably good to have that
I think
balance.
Massively, yeah. Needed.
Now, finally, I always like to ask my guests to leave a recommendation to the listener. Is there something that has helped you or that you're loving right now that you'd like to share?
Probably a couple of things. Now, we've touched on boosts. Like for anyone who's going through or is going to go through mastectomy, I would really recommend looking at them as an option, because it's been a bit of a game changer for me and much more comfortable. I don't even notice it, and they're very light, so not so much backache. And then also I wanted to mention Percy Health, that's an online platform for people going through cancer, full of different professionals that support people through that journey. So there's mindfulness, there's yoga, meditation, also oncology nurses, physiotherapists, different people to speak to at different parts of your journey. And I was connected with it by a friend who gave me her friends and family so that I could access it. I'd say if you have a friend that's going through this, that is, and you could give them access to it, it was a game changer for me. I spent a lot of time lying
So it's
on
a paid platform, is it?
Yeah. So you'd pay for the different different things that you access. Yeah, but I think
that could be quite a nice thing, maybe for the people supporting somebody, maybe to go in on together and get them.
Just have a look at it. Also to help them get set up on it, because that's the other thing. When you're if someone gives you anything, when you're in that moment, what you have to do is access this platform. You're completely cross-eyed and dealing with so much.
Don't give me life admin,
Yeah, not life admin, but just like, here, I've seen this thing. Let me pull it up on the computer. This is how you get into it. And these are the people you could speak to if you want to do, and they're very specialist. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time lying on my bedroom floor doing like yoga and mindfulness, and speaking to the physio after my in the run up to my breast surgery. PT as well after my surgery. So all of that online, which is brilliant. And you can access it in Ireland. It's a UK company, but that was a really good thing for me.
Sounds amazing. I shall put a link underneath the show notes for this. Ali, it's been a really, really special, beautiful chat. How can people find you and follow you if they want to find out more?
Thank you. The best way to connect with me is through Instagram. So I'm Ali Bastian Insta.
Ali with Ali Bastian, Bastian. I shall pop it again. I can put a link below.
Thank you.
Ali, it's been such a treat. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Nice to have a proper chat with you. Yeah, it's lovely. Thank you.
Really nice. Well, thank you for listening. And if you want to hear more from the 40 Plus Life, make sure that you're subscribing and commenting and doing whatever it does to help me get this podcast out there. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.